I don't play Palworld with my pals. Or at all.
It's because he has no friends. Oh.
No, all my friends, they are into that shit right now.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Welcome to the Double D experience. Sometimes with pals, sometimes not, because it's just me and Dennis this week.
But
like
always Nintendo trying to sue because they out here. They trying to be out here, but they can't do shit at the moment. So, yeah, guys, welcome to today's episode.
Took them 3 fucking days.
And let me just say to Nintendo, y'all are cucks. Fuck you. But,
no, I think Nintendo is Himcules for this
No, but here's the thing.
They do this.
The fact that, okay, guys, for any context, again, if you've been living under a rock for the last, let's say week, by the time this episode airs, it's probably going to be Friday. But if y'all have been living under a rock, there's a new game out there. And it's not Pokemon. It's a little thing called Palworld, which, if y'all haven't seen any TikToks or any YouTube shorts or any moist critical videos about it, it's basically Pokemon with guns. And you can literally have the Pokemon. I'm going to call them Pokemon. I'm not calling them pals because that's what they are. They're Pokemon. You can make the Pokemon do fucking anything you want, minus, I guess, fucking them. Everything and anything under the sun you can just do with them. And
this is the most played, the most purchased game on Steam right now.
What is the Steam charts right now saying?
I'm looking at the top sellers, and Palworld is above the Steam Deck right now. How do I look at the Steam charts? I've actually never... I forget how to do it.
Just Google Steam charts.
You just Google it, or you don't look at it on Steam itself?
No, it's a separate own... it's its own thing.
Last time I checked, though, it has... Oh, I'm just knocking shit down. Last time I checked, though, it... 4 million downloads.
4 million downloads? You want to know how many people are playing right now?
How many people are playing the game right now?
943,676. As of at least of the time of this recording, mind you guys, ladies and gentlemen, that is on a Wednesday afternoon. Or Tuesday afternoon, sorry. 943,676 people. Peak, mind you, almost at 2 million. 1,864,421. That's just nuts.
2 million active players?
Nearly 2 million. Nearly.
Concurrently at once.
No. It was at all-time peak. It was 6 hours ago.
All-time peak.
Yeah, all-time peak, yeah.
Which is still crazy because I know the game... I remember reading on Twitter, I think it was downloaded 4 million times. And you might think to yourself, what's the big deal? It's one of these trend games. It comes and it goes. Well, there's a lot of actual, I don't even want to say controversy necessarily, but a lot of discussion. Mm-hmm. A little bit of apprehension, I could say, mayhaps, for several reasons, really. For one, a lot of people are, upset at the game because they think it feels really uninspired, which is the lay of the land.
So is Pokemon for the last 3 years. Fuck you.
Yeah, but it's uninspired, because not even because it's a ripoff of Pokemon, but in the sense that, it's just one of those generic games where, you feel like it's going to be a trend. Something's going to happen with it. I know there's going to be some drama with it. You ever just see something and some shit's going to happen with it in, a month or two?
On Twitter, yeah.
Like when Kick got, when Kick became a thing and we all knew, oh, yeah, Kick is going to fucking just be the...
It's not that messaging app, right?
Streamer... No, Kick is the fucking streamer website that, bought Amaranth.
Oh, right.
The one that, you could basically just, have sex on and nothing will happen. The one where... Yeah, the one where, the lawlessness, really. Yeah. But the thing with Palworld is that, there's a lot of, sort of controversy around this game because not only even really because it's uninspired, but because... And this is the low-key thing about it. I don't even know what to get into first with Palworld, really, because there's so much about it.
Let's start with what it is. Let's start with what it is first.
Okay.
Let's just give some context, yeah.
What Palworld is, Dennis described it better than I could in a concise way, because I don't think either of us have played it.
Nope. Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm about to buy it maybe today. I might.
I have no interest.
Fine.
Those types... I've never even had an interest in Pokemon, period, because, I was a pariah to my generation growing up because my parents thought kids were too obsessed with Pokemon, so they didn't let me play it, and as a result, I can't speak the language or the lingo of the, the electric rats anymore. But also because even games like Monster Hunter, which, this is also very inspired by, I was never interested in. I played Monster Hunter with Evan once. It took forever to set up. on PC because it was like some PSP version of the game, and oh my god, that game is so fucking boring to me. I never liked the idea of just running around capturing shit, those like grindy type games. They're not for me at all.
I love those types of games.
I am not a fan.
Love it.
No interest in Palworld really, but what it is that it's basically Pokemon with guns. You run around, you capture monsters, you can party up with your boys or your girls and whatever, and you can also shoot each other or something, or shoot
each other, eat each other, enslave each other.
Little more sandboxy, right? And sort of the controversy, quote unquote, around this is there's a couple of controversies around it because like they sort of go one and the same, all right? Stolen assets.
Yes.
This game stole a lot of assets, and it's pretty much been proven at this point on Twitter.com, because people play Twitter detective and Twitter police, that the game stole a lot of assets, and some people are very angry about that because of the game also used like a lot of AI designs, like very generic looking AI designs for games, so they didn't hire a lot of artists, and they're reaping huge benefits for that, for what is basically stolen assets, because that's what AI is. It's AI artwork it's stolen assets. It can't not be stolen assets. It needs to take something from something else in order for it to produce something on its own. Otherwise, artificial intelligence art does not function. And because of the fact that it is a clear, blatant, I guess quote-unquote ripoff of Pokemon, but it has its own spin on it, that's less of a concerning issue, if not for the fact that the game literally, or some modders already literally made Pokemon mods to turn the monsters in the game into literal Pokemon. Which the original designs of, you can take a look at them right now if you want, they already look exactly like Pokemon. They even established Pokemon.
Some of them even just were like blatant palette swaps.
Yeah.
Not even like any design change whatsoever, really. Little to none, if anything, from what I've seen.
And my take is, you can go on the fuck Nintendo train if you want. You're never gonna beat them. They're more powerful than you are. Just give it up.
They're bigger than some countries, mind you guys.
Yeah. Just full stop, alright? Yeah, so a lot of people are upset about that, and that's one of the controversies around Palworld right now, in that people aren't happy, or they think it's really hypocritical that so many people online have their crusades against AI artwork because it, ruins the livelihood of artists, of voiceover actors as well. We don't want our work automated into the future, not just for the good of the craft, because we want our art to come from humans. We've talked about this many times already when it comes to voice work, but also because it'll put artists out of work for just this soulless entities that are just recycled assets from stolen shit already. These fuckers have whole databases, these AI companies, of artists that they find online, and reduce them down to not only their work, but their styles. Oh, here's the Rubber Ross style. Ross from Game Grumps was on those things. Ego Raptor was on it. All these artists online that they literally just find where they are, save them for references, and quite literally steal their work into their databases and just recycle it through these AI junk generators so they don't have to pay artists. It's incredibly unethical. Congress is never going to catch up to it. Biden's never going to catch up to it because he can't even catch up to wiping his own ass. It's all sorts of fucking... It's all sorts of bad, right? And this game does that shit. Everybody's against it. 4 million downloads. It kind of makes you think, don't it? If people really stand by their virtues, if they're given something cool that they want, if it's their latest toys.
Hypocrisy.
This group chat that I'm in with all my friends, I have to mute it because it's all they're talking about now. And I have to mute it now because I'm not into this game, and they're all just sucked up into it. Two of my boys played it till 5 a.m. the other night.
That's crazy.
They lost track of time that bad. So when I say this game is blowing up, it's getting there. And it seems to have done it overnight, just like every other big trend and every other big new game and every other big fad that comes out. So other people are upset that this game is going to block the future of gaming and that this generic recycled garbage is really bad for the industry. That's why I'm not paying money for that shit, because I don't think the developers earned it. I don't give a fuck, they stole all that shit. Quite frankly, this isn't the kind of game that I want taking over the gaming scene more than it already has in these types of battle royales, while, like you mentioned earlier, all these companies are already reducing their workforce over and over again. I don't want to reinforce that belief, and even if I didn't care about that shit, it's not the kind of game that I would ever be into, not to sit here and virtue signal or what have you. If you want to buy Palworld, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't encourage that practice, but that's just the general gist of what's been going on with this game.
And we ain't even here, let me just say, we're not really here to pass judgment on anyone if they love Palworld. If you love Palworld and you have a legitimate love for it, then we're not taking anything away from you. I think also, in the respect of what David just said, where I think it does kind of set a bit of a bad precedent in my opinion. Just because at the very least, like, this is a Pokemon clone. It's not. I know people will try and defend it and say, because like people already in the reviews, the one guy literally says it's like Pokemon and Arc Survival, but better than both somehow. Everyone already knows like exactly what they're talking about in those reviews, and like I think it should be even emphasized here too that like as far as like just the game itself, right? It's janky as shit. It's a fucking early access first off, and like, you know, obviously like it's just gonna have all the bugs and kinks that early access builds are gonna have. But I think for me, it's like I am interested in playing it only because I've been starved of good Pokemon games for fucking years now. And Arceus was probably, and I'm gonna argue it. I didn't have a fight with my friend about this, but it's like he called Arceus mid, and I actually like we didn't get like us in the group chat didn't get offended, but like we were just kind of like cap. So like at the very least, like you know, to each their own as far as Pokemon goes. Like everyone has like their own way of enjoying Pokemon, but you know, I think it also just again like it has to be said and has to be emphasized here that Pokemon has had mid-releases for the last how many fucking years now? Huh? How many fucking years?
Mostly ever since the Switch dropped, I want to say.
Yeah, basically. Like Sun and Moon, it wasn't like my favorite. Well, it was still like, I guess, of that gen, whichever X and Y was a part of. But like, as far as like...
Still on the 3DS.
Yeah, still on the 3DS, exactly, yeah. So that's why, like, at least for me, that whole gen, like, you know, I actually really like 3DS Pokemon games were like pretty good for the most part. Like I never had any problems with them at all. And like, you know, they were just good across the board. And then again, as David said, like it just all changed when the Fire Nation attacked and like, you know, fucking like when then the Switch came rolling around. Like
the only bad thing about the Switch were the new Pokemon games, really.
I mean, yeah, obviously. I think out of all the like the big releases that it's had over its history, Pokemon arguably is like the worst one I've ever seen. Just flat out. Like,
and there's still a lot of people who like it too. The game still sold 10 million in 3 days because it is Pokemon, right?
I'm gonna go off of that because as David just said, like, yeah, like as far as sales, it still did very well, Sword and Shield. Even amidst all its fucking problems that it had on launch. It's
Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, Scarlet and Violet, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So Scar and Vi, they also, yeah, like again, they did so fucking well. And it, TBH, like quality-wise, it had, if we're speaking just on quality of the game on launch, it had no business like doing that well. But again, name carries. It's Pokemon. And I still see people defending Scarlet and Violet. And I honestly cannot believe it. Like, I'm legitimately like, what drugs are you smoking? And can I have some? Because defending Pokemon Company and a lot of their bullshit when it comes to their releases is just baffling to me. Considering, like, you know, for one, they're a Nintendo property, I guess, technically, right? They're their own entity, but like, you know, and they're like part of Nintendo, but at the very least, like they're allowed to do their own thing. But I'll tell you, if Miyamoto was ever able to like crack the whip on them, like they would have gotten their shit together like a long time ago. But they've been always left to their own devices, and as far as at least numbers go, they've always delivered. So Nintendo has no reason to ever really like kind of do anything with them because hey, their game's still sold. And that's the reason why, like, one little debate I had amidst my group chat before, we were all kind of saying, like, I asked, you know, do y'all think really this is going to change anything in the long run, considering, like, you know, this, like, Palworld is going to change anything? Because Nintendo is still going to be releasing mid-ass games in the future, and then people will still be buying them in droves, like just like how they did with Scarlet and Violet and also Sword and Shield. And a lot of them agreed, yeah, like nothing's really going to change in that regard. Because for one, this game, as let's say successful as it may be, is what one of my friends in the group chat said to be a flash in the pan. And I kind of agree. Like, I mean, right now, yeah, like in maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks time, you know, people are just going to be talking about it. It's going to be the talk of the town. There's going to be a lot of buzz on it. but I don't know, like, unless they like are really like the developers. Who are they? What's the fucking name? What's not Pokemon Company's name?
Game Freak.
No. These guys for Palworld.
Oh, for Palworld.
Oh, PocketPair. So for in PocketPairs, like case right now, like at least just from what I'm talking about, if they decide to support the shit out of this game and just like make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, or if anything, like just even like make more Palworld type clones or whatever, or like, you know, just make sequels, not clones, I guess, mind you, not clones, talking sequels here. And if they decide to just make it better and better and like maybe even setting an example, then maybe, okay, fine. Maybe Nintendo does have a bit of competition there. Because, okay, at the very least, it's like, at least they're trying to do something different, right? Because Nintendo, Pokemon Company, has fallen into that very deadly trap of where if the formula works, we don't need to change shit. And we can just keep doing whatever the fuck we've been doing for the last like 25 years. And it'll still sell and people will still buy and we will still be making money. And to a certain extent, that has been proven true for the last like 3 years. Pokemon has very rarely ever changed anything from their formula. Arceus was like probably the biggest deviation in recent memory, but it also really wasn't either. It was still a Pokemon battling type of game. Like it wasn't anything like how it was in Mystery Dungeon, where it's like you're on a board and like you're in a dungeon and you're exploring. Like you are a trainer battling with other Pokemon and with other trainers. It's like the Arceus was that. It was the exact same as like most like of the mainline games. It's just like a few things they decided to change up and like kind of just sort of emphasize the exploration of the game a bit more, because the areas were just so fucking big and like the Pokemon weren't even in tall grass. They were just out there in the wild. You just like go up to them and just throw the ball and catch it. But you know, now like at least, you know, for Palworld, like, you know, and just kind of comparing it now, like, you know, to, let's say, I'm literally seeing this one, like, Lucario-ass looking, like, AI-generated Pokemon from PAL. Like, I'm literally looking at it right now, like, from off of their store page.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, what I'm kind of getting at, though, is that this game, Palworld specifically, is really not, in my opinion, going to change much. Because, again, unless PocketPair decide that they really want to invest more now...
That was a Koopa shell!
I'm
looking at the trailer and there was a fucking, like, Koopa shell. That was literally Bowser's shell recolored. My god, the more I watch it, it's like... Dude, this is insane. No, this is different, because the thing is, if you were looking at this from an outside lens and, like, you don't even know the context of Palworld, I guarantee if I showed this trailer to my mom, even she would think it's a Pokemon game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Like, I haven't even watched the trailer for it, but I'm looking at it on the Steam page right now, and holy shit. And I will mention as well the graphics on top of that above everything else. Like, you were already... I could tell that's what you were getting at, right? Or what you were about to get at, to the point where people are happy about this game even doing some of this shit, because they think it's gonna get Game Freak to actually get their ass in gear.
It's not. It's really not.
Yeah,
y'all are coping
You think
hard.
It's hopium. You think it's hopium.
Abso-fucking-lutely. They are looking at this, and Game Freak and Pokemon Company are seething. I know that for a fact that they're seething, because it's like the way someone
it's like punching the interns as soon as they walk in with the fucking coffee.
They want to punch through their screens, man. That's how fucking mad they are. They are mad. I'll be honest with you. If y'all think that this doesn't make Game Freak a little angry, you're also on hopium. It is. It's actually, I think, in my opinion, getting them pretty fucking mad, because they can't do shit. They're mad that they can't do shit. That's why. But number two, I also feel like given some time, they'll like clear their head and they'll realize, okay, so on to the next shitty Pokemon game, right, guys? Like Scarlet Violet 2, let's go. Let's make it even more shittier than the last one, and make it even more buggier on launch. Like, and they know. This is not going to stop people from buying Pokemon games. It's not going to stop people from buying Pokemon anything. Here, like, let me tell you right now, Pokemon was, and I think arguably even to a certain extent, it still is one of the most valuable IPs in the fucking world. In the fucking world. And then at one point in time, it was basically dominating everything as far as even hobbies go. Pokemon cards were insane as to like how much love there was for the game. Even though like most people didn't know how to play the game. They just collected. But it's like, like it was just like the whole idea of like, oh my god, like my favorite creatures are on cardboard. It was just nice to flash binders and just be like, yo, look at this, like, just flexing on all your poor ass friends because like they couldn't afford all these fucking cards. And in the case of even the games too, it was a cultural phenomenon, like during the early 90s. And I think it's sort of diminished a bit, but not so much as people like to think. It's diminished far less than something like Yu-Gi-Oh has, where Yu-Gi-Oh was in the mainstream for a long time too, but it's dropped off now. It's probably one of the most nichest fucking hobbies you could ever see nowadays. And most people, even though there are current like Yu-Gi-Oh animes, most people don't even a lot of people like only remember like the very first. They don't remember the most recent one now. And in the case of Pokemon too, it's monolithic. It's not going nowhere. The Palworld does really in the long run, okay? In the long run, Palworld means shit to Nintendo and Game Freak and Pokemon Company. They could give a fuck right now. Well, they are giving a fuck, but like, given a couple weeks time, like they'll realize, oh, okay, sure, whatever. Like they're already looking at that player count right now, and I guarantee you, it's not going to stay like that forever, unless again, if PocketPair really decides to invest in this game and also invest in like this sort of kind of, I want to say IP, but it's stolen as shit. So like whatever the fuck this is, like if they decide to invest a fuck ton in it, then maybe they got something, maybe. But the whole thing is too, again, as David said, this entire game is predicated on the fact that it's stolen as fuck. It's stolen as fuck. Like everything from the assets on to even just like the very like kind of foundation of it is all stolen. Like it's all stolen.
I'm watching the trailer again, and this motherfucker literally held a ball to the screen and smiled. Like it's not even subtle.
No, absolutely.
Like, it's really not even fucking subtle. Like, I'm looking at it and it's crazy. And, another thing to mention here as far as this affecting Nintendo's bottom dollar is that, like, it is also on a different platform. This isn't on the Switch, and I would be shocked if this game would ever be on the fucking Switch.
Imagine.
That's beyond the fact that we're probably towards the end of the Switch's lifespan, and the fact that this game is, like, not even being subtle about the fact that it is a clear Pokemon ripoff. That's never going to happen, first of all. It's also a different demographic, like, not a different demographic, but like a different audience. It's very niche. This has crafting inside of it as well, which is, I guarantee, if there ever is a court case about this game, it's going to be like, fucking Pocket Pals, like, lame defense. Oh, you can craft in this game. Yeah, you can't do that in Pokemon. Yeah, rip off. Yeah, and there even couldn't even be that because the legislation hasn't caught up to AI yet. Like I said, Biden's just wiping his own ass, and so is Congress. That shit's gonna take forever to catch up. You already know with how that fucking system works. But, yeah. So I don't think that's gonna affect anything either on the fact that it's on a different platform, but, if I can speak on this for a second, it's also just the sheer principle of the thing. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this and I'm like, it makes me secondhand depressed at, the blatant side or late stage capitalism and American consumerism that we are, not to virtue signal again, but that they are looking at this. I'm reading even some of the reviews here. Like, I'll check this review out for you. Like, read this one right here. Oh, did it move? No, it didn't. Okay.
I thought it was literally going to be like a one-word review. It was like, wow,
no.
Cleared his throat for a one-word review.
No. 26 hours on record for this person. I'm a little obsessed with this game now. I don't care if it does or doesn't use AI. I don't care about making virtual pet slaves. I don't care what Nintendo thinks. The game is fun, and I'm still going to play it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the general attitude or demeanor of the average American consumer. If they like it, they'll buy it.
But to be fair,
a lot of these like boycott. What?
They're allowed to do that, in my opinion. If you just like a product, go buy it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying though too, like, and I agree with you on this aspect as well. Is that again, this game sets pretty bad precedents maybe for things to come because again, This is stolen as shit. All
Yeah,
of it.
that's
This thing's
like what
all stolen.
That's what I want to talk about here. It's like people like, like make such. If the Palworld, let's I don't want to conclude it here, but let me concise my thoughts here in a bit of poetry, right? Because like Palworld is now official, definitive proof that Twitter is not a real place.
Never was to be.
No, I know, but now Palworld is like official proof that it is. With how much this game sold, how much people are playing it, how obsessed everybody got with it, overnight, when people are still making such a big stink about AI artwork and AI voiceover and all that stuff. Not to even mention the fact that beyond even the stolen assets with AI and stuff, it's just stolen assets as far as like, the fucking demeanor. Again, if I could show this to my fucking 95-year-old grandma in the nursing home, and even she would be like, in Spanish, like, oh, see, Pokemon. Like, even she would fucking like know that what this is. Like, it's so not even subtle. And the fact that so many people just don't give a shit is as unsurprising as it is depressing. And that is why I'm not buying Palworld personally. I don't want this game to do well. Not because of, like, anything about Nintendo. The whole Game Freak thing, whatever. If y'all think, again, it's serious hopium if y'all think this is actually going to get Game Freak to get off their ass. It's Pokemon. People will buy it no matter what.
It won't.
But beyond that, if y'all think it's principled to buy the game for that reason, by all means, go ahead and do it. I just think it's a little hypocritical that, it's definitely not the same people. Nah,
the same people.
That's the thing. It's clearly not
that.
the same people though, because like of how well it's sold. I mean, I'm not even like, I'm not even the most seasoned, voiceover guy myself. I've done some stuff now and again, but I'm also very much against AI voiceover, or at the very least the unethical practice of it, which is what these companies want to do with it. Insanely unethical shit. But this game, in solidarity, this game with developers, who, don't want to steal, not even developers, but artists who don't want their shit stolen. That's why I'm not buying it, because I don't want the future of gaming to be this. I don't want it to be like 11% of Riot Games' like workforce getting laid off, probably mostly artists and like creative designers in there as well, because they just want to replace them with AI. I don't want that to be the fucking future of gaming. I know most people say they don't want it to be the future of gaming, and then they fucking buy Palworld. Granted, a lot of them didn't know until Palworld blew up, and then people went on Twitter, like developers like went on Twitter and they're like, y'all, even the fucking polygons match. Like they data mined the game and the polygons match with like the actual same Pokemon that they based it off. They didn't base it off anything. It's legitimately all stolen content, which is why I'm not comfortable supporting it. Again, whatever, I'll try not to judge, you do you. But it's not even a matter of Nintendo. It's not even a matter of the fact that it's a blatant ripoff of Pokemon. It's a fact of what this game represents and what it means for gaming going forward, that some indie developers can get together, and I probably doubt they even spent too long making this shit if like all the assets are as stolen as they are, and over fucking night. Like most of these games that blow up, like your Fortnites, your Valorants, whatever. And then it's just the most sold game on Steam.
In a while, actually.
Yeah, it's just... I think that's kind of depressing. And I don't think that's good for the industry, quite frankly. So that's why I'm not buying this shit, But, if people want to, buy it because they say, like, oh, it's a better version of Pokemon, which in a lot of ways it is. It's graphically way better than, like, the stuff that's on the Switch.
Graphically better than it ever will be, mind you. Because Pokemon love to keep their shit just so... like 2010 looking ass fucking graph. I don't know what it is that they love that aesthetic. And
well, the Switch is also underpowered on top of that.
No. Listen. They don't got that excuse no more. I could play Witcher 3 on fucking on the Switch. And that is an infinitely better looking game than fucking anything Nintendo can ever make, flat out. And if it could handle something like that, Nintendo can't. Well, not Nintendo, but like at least Pokemon. No, wait. Pokemon can.
Frame rate though.
Pokemon can. They can if they wanted to, but they won't because they don't have to. Is what I'm saying. They are so comfortable with where they're at right now that there is no need, they think, for innovation. Why? Yeah. For fucking what? I don't know. What the fuck do we need to pay R&D more for if already we could shovel out this crap? And I'm saying crap, like thing affectionately here. We could shovel out this crap, and they know that people will buy it regardless. Scar and Vi were terrible. Flat out, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. They were terrible. And people still bought like a fuck ton of them anyways. So therefore, I'm saying like thing, in that argument, Pokemon Company and Game Freak have absolutely no reason to change what they're doing. This game also will not do anything in that towards that argument, because again, this also is even I feel as if more flattering towards Game Freak in a certain respect, because again, like we said, virtually the entire game's entire asset library is virtually all Pokemon. It's all Pokemon Company stuff. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's like AI generated or whatnot. It's all still Pokemon Company stuff. And I even always say imitation is the biggest form of flattery. It's probably maybe not. I don't know why that sounds as if I said that wrong, but like it is the biggest. Is the
sincerest. That's
the
why
sincerest
it sounds a little
form,
wrong in your head. You
sincerest
said it right,
form of flattery, and it really is, because again, this game can call it whatever the fuck they want. It could not even be named Palworld. It could be named Poke Go Fuck Yourself, and it still would be like the exact same fucking thing. It's Pokemon with the reskinned whatever the fuck. I know people are even saying it's like, it's not Pokemon, it's different. You are capping, my friend. You are capping hard.
It's just so weird, because with all of that, this game doesn't deserve the success it's had. But in that same defense, neither does Pokemon anymore.
No.
With the new games. Dennis, I'm not defending Game Freak when I say this thing.
I know.
Hardest work that Game Freak has done in the last 6 years is sprinkling cocaine all across their keyboard, smacking their face against the desk as hard as possible, and adding vowels in between the letters to make up names for the new Pokemon. I'm convinced that's how they do it. There's no other way that it could possibly be. Because how else are they going to make 151 new ones, or however the fuck
it's probably also AI generated too. Imagine.
Nah, that might count. Nintendo too behind for that. Nintendo's gonna start using AI in the 2050s, my dude. I'm telling you.
Everyone's already gone to making mind computers, using.
Nintendo is the kind of company that will actually be like, no, we're not going to do that because this is unethical. But then for all sorts of other shit, like game preservation, they probably have it all in a, the fucking Disney vault back there somewhere. And they'll be like,
so hard.
We're all about game preservation. We all have them. We just won't fucking release the ones you want to the public, You know how it is. We already mentioned it on the, about a half an hour ago, 20 minutes ago, whenever, that Nintendo being as archaic as they are is both a very, very good thing and a very, very bad thing. I just think Palworld sets a very weird precedent, as well as the fact that, this game doesn't deserve that success, as well as Game Freak doesn't. Because the thing is, I feel like what all of this stuff doesn't matter. People the success of Palworld and the stolen assets and whatnot, it's not justifiable to buy it, in my opinion, because people are saying, again, the hopium thing, maybe it'll get Game Freak off their ass. No, it won't. It's Pokemon. It'll be fine. Next generation, I will say, there are the rumors about the Switch 2 that it's going to be as powerful as the PS4 and whatnot. And again, I guess that is graphically good enough in my opinion, but it is still technically a generation behind as far as consoles go. So Pokemon will continue to at least look a little better, but even then, it's still in the back. I've always said Nintendo would handle it better, but I don't know if the employee thing I mentioned earlier is true and they have the manpower for that necessarily. Because think about it. Game Freak and the Pokemon games are sort of the black sheep as far as Nintendo quality goes.
Absolutely.
Look at the graphics of all their other games. Mario Odyssey, fucking peak. Luigi's Mansion 3 sold more than any Zelda game in existence except for Breath of the Wild. And that game was peak Nintendo quality as far as the graphic fidelity goes, at least. Say what you want about Luigi's Mansion 3, I still like the OG one better. I mean, I haven't played 3 yet, but As well as, Breath of the Wild and all these other games, it's when Nintendo releases their shit, it's good. They delayed Prime 4 to the next fucking console because they went into the studio that they hired for the first time, took a gamble on, said, this shit sucks, and canceled the whole thing, and then got Retro to do it instead. That is how much they wanted their shit to be good. That's how much they cared. Nintendo at least has, say what you will about Nintendo. If you want to hate Nintendo, I completely understand it. Go forth. I understand it. When it comes to wanting their games to be quality, they do not fuck around with that.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not. For Pokemon. Because that's why I always tell people, even when I'm doing the Nintendo job, it's not Nintendo. It's Game Freak's fault. It's 1,000% Game
Yeah.
Freak's fault. And it could be Nintendo cracking the whip or wanting to cut back on like certain resources that maybe they're still the financial backers behind, truly, since they are the publishers. So in that sense, in that vein, maybe it is Nintendo's fault. Who knows? I'm just saying, and Dennis said it before I could. Palworld is not the savior of that you think it is to make Pokemon better. If you like Palworld better, even with all the stolen shit, I can't stop you from playing it. I think there's plenty of reasons to not play it, or at the very least not give them their money, because quite frankly, I don't think those developers earned it. I'm not a game dev. Maybe I'm not talking out of my ass to say that. I don't think y'all earned it if you're stealing all that shit from artists, even if those artists are working for like one of the biggest AAA game companies in the fucking planet in Nintendo and also Game Freak making the games. I don't care. This isn't a Robin Hood steal from the rich give. Well, actually, in a way, maybe it is kind of a Robin Hood steal from the rich give to the poor kind of thing.
Maybe.
But then again, Robin Hood also didn't sell his video games for free. So at the same time, I don't think that necessarily matters. I think it's more ethical to not purchase the game personally. But if you want to, I won't judge you.
Enjoy!
And Dennis certainly won't as well, because I know he already mentioned that he's going to buy it. And I guess that's all I really have to say about Palworld myself. So if Denise has any concluding thoughts.
Seeing my test hand here. Oh, okay. That was pretty shit. But I guess from last couple thoughts too. I don't know. Like we both said what I think we both wanted to say, in my opinion. Like, I think as far as this game goes, like, I'm gonna say this. It's no God of War. It'll never be. Nothing like this AI generated shit will ever be a God of War. I was saying that right off the bat. And maybe even to a certain extent for a lot of people, it doesn't have to. And I could agree with that as well. Like, obviously, like, again, it doesn't have to be. This is not a AAA game by any means, first off, okay? It's not a AAA game. And I hope it never fucking will be. But, as far as, like, again, just the whole, like, Pokemon argument and even just kind of, like, the precedence, again, that this game kind of sets for the future. And it's not a good one, as David said before. And also, just reiterating a couple things. If you guys want to enjoy the game and you really genuinely love the game, and I honestly feel that genuine love comes from the fact that a lot of these guys or gals that like are playing the game, like they're actually like Pokemon boomers, is what I'm getting at. Like, they've been with that franchise for so fucking long that they miss that feeling of like a new Pokemon game. I feel.
I disagree.
And like, why?
I think this game is targeting the Zoomers way more because they added crafting. They knew what they were doing when they did that. They know kids are obsessed with that crafting shit.
But I feel as if there is a percentage.
Crafting, Minecraft crafting.
But
this game is the kind of game that makes me feel like the only way to save gaming is to go back in time and just stop Minecraft from ever releasing. Like, honest to God. Like, that's how I feel at this point. Because, like, when adding crafting to the game, Dennis, they were not targeting the boomers for that. They were targeting the Zoomers.
Fair. Okay, then, so let me reiterate then. So as far as, like, let's say whatever that percentile may be of, like, people who... At least for the people who grew up with Pokemon and like they found this game and like they just wanted to feel something again. Like, for you guys, I hope it did give you something, as far as like maybe that old nostalgic feeling again. Because even though like Pokemon Red and Blue have not aged like at all, like they haven't really aged fine at all. Like it's dated as shit. Like if we look at Red and Blue, it's honestly like, I still love it just because that was at least the generation that I grew up with, like Gen 1. So like, it's just kind of like my nostalgia kind of like playing maybe like a bunch of tricks on me and just saying like, oh, this game's not too bad. And like, even though Pokemon Red was broken as fuck as well on release. Most people don't know it, but there was a lot of things wrong with that game, like just internally and just coded terribly as well. Like it was just so fucking bad. But I mean, although again, I'm not gonna also disagree with David's whole take either, because again, like I do agree, anything with involving crafting and just anything within that vein this already tells me, should tell you like who the game is like targeted towards primarily at the very least. And I mean, to be fair, I'll give PocketPair this. They were also smart in basically using Pokemon as like their base because for one, Pokemon is the most recognizable fucking IP in the world. Pikachu is up there with Mickey Mouse. I'm being dead honest with you. Like, everyone knows who the fuck Pikachu is. Everyone knows who the fuck Squirtle and Charmander and Bulbasaur is. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. Even an illiterate motherfucker like from some bumfuck country knows who the fuck Pikachu is. And in this regard, like, you know, they knew what they were doing. And I honestly feel like, you know, Pocket Pair can never say, like, we have no idea this is going to get this big. No, you kind of knew. You fucking knew. Don't lie to me. I think they honored it because, again, like, they're way too smart to play dumb. They're way too smart.
This was the kind of game that was made deliberately because they knew it would probably go viral because of, like, cheap assets.
Maybe not viral, but
it's existing off of something that's already, like, popular and whatnot. Like, I feel like they ran like a bunch of shit through an algorithm to find, like, what works. And then just slap it all together.
Let's go in conspiracy theory there, like, you know.
Which is why I will never give these people my money. Ever. I feel like if you want to, like, say it's justifiable to pirate Nintendo games because of all the shit Nintendo does, I think it's more than justifiable to pirate fucking Palworld. I think it's more justifiable to pirate Palworld because at least, you know, Nintendo didn't steal all the fucking assets to make their games. That's why I've never given the Palworld people my fucking money. They're scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel and they feel like they barely did any work to actually make that happen.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. Like, we're not disagreeing on that at all.
Yeah. I'm disagreeing with you on talking about nostalgia because I opened the shit up and there's a bunch of sheep. There's a bunch of sheep holding World War II fucking mounted guns, firing them. That shit didn't happen in Red and Blue. That shit didn't happen on my Game Boy Color back in 1996. Like, what do you?
Maybe it should have.
Yeah, maybe it should have. Should have, would have. I mean, Lieutenant would have traveled back in time to fucking delete Minecraft, Dennis.
Hold on. Lieutenant Surge in the game, he actually was part of a Pokemon war. So I mean, we've had wars before. Just saying. Okay, I'm not going to use that as an argument, but my whole point is that, like, you know, as far as even for me, it didn't hit the nostalgia, but of course, like, the main thing I thought, like, oh, wow, it's Pokemon. It's the first thing that everyone fucking thought. I guarantee you. So, in conclusion, if you want the game, go get it. Buy 2. I don't give a fuck. But at the same time, like, you know, don't, like, y'all gotta be aware, is all I'm just saying. Because if this is something you guys like, and if this is something that even companies now begin to see that, oh wow, they like re-assetted garbage. Let's give that to them. That's what they're gonna do. Just know that. Just know that. Because again, and for anyone who is still like a Pokemon like veteran out here, who still buys all the games even though they know how shitty it is, to you guys, you're the reason why Pokemon keeps just not doing anything new with their IP. Because you guys don't fucking say shit and you guys are whales. And you just buy this shit up regardless. Just know that, okay? Just know that going ahead. Like, for the next, like, maybe a couple of years. Just, because, again, money talks. And if they see that you guys are buying this shit, they're gonna go make more. It's the same thing with this fucking game in particular, Palworld. If they see that you guys are loving this shit, even though this is all just re-assetted garbage, maybe not garbage, but like if they all just see that this is just all recycled assets and just recolored and reskinned, and you guys love it, that's what they're gonna make. And TBH, I even feel though that a lot of AAA studios like would not go this route depending on what they're trying to make. Because at the very least for God of War, I can never see Santa Monica doing something like this down the line. Flat out. I could never see them.
No. There's a group of indie developers that form their own like shitty little company that who knows if they would take so far.
Because this is a cash grab. This is a cash grab for them.
Probably has a couple little tech bros in it that like brag about having worked 8 different startups before in their life as if that's somehow a fucking good thing. I don't... If you want, you remember that. Remember what Dennis said here, and remember that you're going to get more of the same by where your money goes, and that actions speak louder than words. And I want you all to remember that very same sentiment when it comes to social media presence and how this game, like I mentioned about 45 minutes ago, proves that Twitter is not a real place. Because so many people like bitch and cry about AI, and this game sold 4 million, which leads me to have to think that can't be the same person. Can't be the same people out here. I mean, I know it's not the same people because I don't support that, you know, AI-generated shit, and I'm not buying Palworld. I'm not going to buy that game. Yeah, it doesn't even look like the kind of game I'd be interested in, even if it wasn't all just stolen shit or whatever. But, like, I don't want to, like, go, like, the, like, cis white, like boomer sounding man with a podcast route and just being like, oh, this shit is proof that everything sucks and I'm one of the only good ones left. That's why I get on this podcast and talk about how much I hate the Zoomers. And
Sound like J. Jonah Jameson.
And I want photos of Spider-Man. And like how much the Zoomers suck, or like how much like, I hate women, or like whatever shit that they say. But this shit really does set that bad precedent because it also just fucking means that like you're gonna get more of the shit that y'all are complaining about. And these fucking Palworld fuckers are like laughing all the way to the goddamn bank knowing that, probably seeing all like the shit about AI on Twitter and just laughing their ass off on their fucking pile of money that they got like overnight, just rolling around on it, just like jacking off and fucking having little office orgies inside of it because y'all bought it anyway. Action speaks so much louder than words, and I want y'all to remember that when looking at the figures for Palworld and how so many people, probably people who bought this game, as that Steam review, one of the most liked and upvoted Steam reviews for the game on the entire fucking platform, proves that people just don't care. And that y'all don't actually hold those values that you say on Twitter all the time.
They never
and that you
did.
really are just doing it just for either show, to roll with the crowd, or because you just want to feel righteous when you're actually not. It's just Yas Queen shit, but for gamers. That's it. That's all I got.
Could just end it here.
We could, yeah, honestly.
Just reading some comments here. Popularity of the game and quality of the game have little to no correlation. It's just bandwagonism, a lot of them are saying. It's the main driving force. Obviously this was all pushed by TikTok and shit. So, they were all saying, like, obviously how all TikTok videos go, hey guys, you should check out this game. It's like Pokemon, but it's not. And then, like, they obviously, like, played it and such. And, I don't know. Like, there isn't, it seems a lot of, discussion about like what me and David said. Maybe it probably will in the future, I feel, because I think as far as this game goes, it's nothing incredible. I'll be just flat out with that. It's really nothing like, fucking jaw-dropping or whatever. Like, I think I'll even be honest with you right now, like, I still prefer playing, maybe not Scar and Vi, but like I still prefer to play like OG Pokemon games over this. I'll be real with you. Like, I mean, again, if this is your guys' like whole cup of tea, like go ahead, enjoy by all means. But like again, like just know what this also means down the line if you guys keep buying into this shit. And everyone can kind of agree and point fingers at me saying like, well, you're gonna buy it too, aren't you? And I'm like, yes. Yes, I am. But I'm also not here virtue signaling to all you motherfuckers either. Like,
I was.
Well, yeah, David is, but but he's not playing it, so that's why he like sort of kind of can. But like, I'm just saying though, like, this is what you may get down the line. Just know that. And then one day y'all gonna be crying about like why is games is not the same no more, and then I'll just be like, look at Palworld from like 2024 and you'll get your answer. Oh yeah. I'm sure Game Freak is going to try and pull something out of their ass, but the game infringing on their IP or something. It'll likely be unlikely to go anywhere, but like you said, probably won't cause much change with Game Freak for now. Especially since I doubt if, assuming the game's full release does really well, Nintendo will still let it get ported. It ain't getting ported, bro. Nintendo's gonna put a stop to that right quick. Ain't no way this will be on a Switch. Fuck you.
That would be shocking. Truly. It would be really honestly shocking, unless the only way Nintendo feels like they might not lose the customers of Palworld, y'all can come here. I can very realistically see that happening too, Dennis, if I'm being honest. Like, they're scared of losing, like, the Pokemon user base to that. We're not going to lose that user base. We'll make them our base.
Man, yeah, they could. But right now, they don't want this thing anywhere near their ecosystem.
Well, I know, but can't you see, like, it doing the same thing that Facebook did with Instagram when all the Zoomers and millennials were switching from Facebook to Instagram?
Oh, no, yeah.
And so Facebook just bought Instagram?
But we could also then have to see where this thing goes from the next 3 weeks from now. Because again, if this is a flash in the pan, like I said, and like my friend said before in the group chat, this could literally just be a nothing down the line. Like Among Us 2, like, was fucking huge as well. And no one even, well, people still kind of talk about it, but they meme on it to death too. In fact, people hate Among Us for that reason.
The pandemic assisted in that game's success. You can't convince me that it didn't. I mean, you can convince me that it didn't, but, that's a discussion for you and me to have a different day. Maybe Nintendo won't buy it either. Maybe they'll, but then, it's not like a subtle thing, like they feel like they can squander and squash, like, the Smash community. Like, they could just squish this like a bug, and then everybody forgets about it in 2 weeks when they drop the Sephiroth trailer, you know what I mean? When it was still save Smash and free Melee, but then everyone was getting so hyped for Sephiroth. Funniest fucking time on Twitter, by the way. That shit was amazing. Again, pointed out that, a lot of this, like, shit and these virtues aren't real. But, that's another reason why people listen to podcasts. Like, a virtue like mine, when I'm talking about this AI shit, it sounds way more poignant, if that makes any sense, and way more, like, real when you actually hear it coming from me, rather than just reading it on a screen, like, and then suffering from Poe's Law when you can't tell if somebody's real, joking, serious, or not. Really blurs the lines on social media, huh? But Nintendo would never give this a huge stink of, like, trying to shut this down, because the backlash they would get for that is huge, and Palworld already has such a huge base already, like, over fucking night, that people wouldn't forget about that in a couple of weeks, like, they would a bunch of other, weird, like, copyright infringement and video takedown shit that Nintendo's done in the past, So I actually, I don't know what Nintendo would do about this, if anything at all. If it would be that blip on that radar, it's crazy. If I were in charge, I'd be like, yo, let's buy these fuckers out, put this shit on the Switch, and then we're gonna make the money.
I could even see that. I could see that.
But Nintendo is also Nintendo.
They have too much pride.
They like to swing their huge cock around and, like, fucking just delete shit. But Palworld already has such a huge base already.
Pokemon's still bigger than it had, though.
It is, but they wouldn't forget about it in just a few weeks, I feel. Unless they feel like maybe they could, and people's attention spans are really that bad now.
They are that bad, though.
I don't know, man. It's a huge decision on part of them. We're just gonna have to wait a few weeks to see what's gonna happen there, if I'm being honest. But, yeah. That, like, without beating around the bush too much or repeating what we've said more than we've already had to, I think we got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Buy Palworld if you want. If you want, if you don't want to, that's good too. Like, I mean, either way, like, I don't really put too much, like, stock into this game. Like, it just looks fun. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, and if you'd like to receive some advice from the superior D, I very much recommend not buying Palworld. Unless I guess you really, really want to. It looks fun, it's Pokemon with guns. I can understand, the bottom line of people just wanting to play a game that looks fun. And I guess at the end of the day, that's all the bottom dollar, the bottom line, and consumerism user base will care about at the end of the day. Accepting that or fighting it, it's an interesting choice. Deleting Palworld or buying it, it's an interesting choice for Nintendo. Who knows? We're talking out of our asses at this point. But if you like hearing us talk out of our asses, you can listen to more of our podcasts using these links down below. And follow us on all of your favorite podcast listening platforms. You can check us out on Spotify. Leave us a quick 5-star review on your mobile device if you can. It really helps with our search engine optimization, helps more people discover our podcast, and get some more eyes on it, which I know a lot of you have said you've wanted us to have more eyes on our podcast. That lies on you as much as us, friends. So definitely share it around on your favorite listening platforms. Check us out on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts if you prefer to listen on those platforms. And of course, right here where most of you are listening at youtube.com/Nintoonist. Leave us a like, comment on the video what you think about Palworld, what you think it means for the future of the industry, or if you like it, or if you've even been playing it at all. We'll put those polls down in the Spotify section as well. And yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Check out some of the other content that we got going on here. Check out last week's episode where we talked to a girl. And that'll pretty much do it. Let's keep this one a little bit shorter this week, huh?
Back to basics. Back to basics.
Back to Baldi's basics.
So yeah, guys, that was today's episode. Let me going now. See you next week. And we'll see if Palworld is still around by then.
Yeah. Hug your actual pals. They're the more important ones.
Go touch grass, too.
Not these fucking pals. Like, they'll never love you the same way. They'll never start a shitty podcast with you that you wrote for 3 years. All right? You can't do that with this AI shit. Unless you can, which is what they're trying to make happen pretty soon.
If you want to play a real survival game, play Valheim. It's a good one.
There you go. I like that. Love y'all. Mwah. Take care.
I fucking hate you.